Nuzugum was an iconic heroine in Uyghur history and a symbol of the nationalist movement. In the 1820s, she fought against the oppressive Manchu-Qing Empire alongside thousands of others. Despite being forcibly moved out of the Ili region, she never lost her spirit. However, her resistance was put to the test when a Manchu-Qing officer forced her into marriage. On the day of her wedding, Nuzugum took matters into her own hands, killing the officer before fleeing to the mountains. She survived a month in the cave, defying all odds and proving her determination. But bravery was met with tragedy as Manchu soldiers discovered her in the cave and set fire to the reeds surrounding the cave. Despite her valiant efforts, Nuzugum was killed in the blaze. Her legacy as a nationalist symbol of resistance to foreign invaders lives on, and her tomb stands as a testament to her courage in the Uyghur region of eastern Kazakhstan. Nuzugum's story is not just one of resistance, but of a poet and folk singer who used her voice to inspire others. Her strength and courage in the face of oppression continue to inspire people today. The story of Nuzugum highlights the long history of oppression and resistance among the Uyghur people dating back to the 1820s when they fought against the Manchu-Qing Empire. Unfortunately, the struggle of Uyghur freedom and independence continues today with the ongoing Uyghur genocide in Xinjiang, China.
So, who are the Uyghurs? There are about 10 million Uyghurs, most of whom are Muslim, that compose a minority in Xinjiang, China, which is in the northwest region of China. They speak their own language, which is similar to Turkish. In an attempt to maintain social and political control over Xinjiang, given the Uyghurs are trying to separate from the Chinese Communist Party, the Chinese government has been enacting horrific actions on the population, hoping to erase them completely. The genocide, which began in 2014, has seen the Chinese government systematically persecuting and incarcerating the Uyghurs in what they call re-education camps, where they're subjected to forced labor, torture, and brainwashing. The Uyghur people are being stripped of their culture, language, and religious freedoms, and their very existence as a distinct ethnic group is under threat. Reports indicate that Uyghur men have been subjected to arbitrary detention, forced labor, and torture in what have been described as internment camps. These detention centers have been set up under the guise of vocational training centers aimed at combating extremism and terrorism. However, evidence suggests that they are similar to forced labor camps, where inmates are subjected to grueling work conditions, often without pay or adequate food or water.
Meanwhile, Uyghur women have been subjected to forced sterilization, forced abortions, and forced marriages to non-Uyghur men in order to limit the births of Uyghur individuals. These practices have been described as a form of demographic genocide with the aim of reducing the Uyghur population and erasing their identity. These marriages are often arranged by the state and carried out against the will of the women involved. Women have been particularly vulnerable to these abuses, with reports of state-sanctioned birth control and sterilization campaigns targeting Uyghur women. The mistreatment of Uyghur men and women has sparked international condemnation and calls for action. The United States and other countries have declared that China's treatment of Uyghurs constitutes genocide, and there have been efforts for boycotting products made with forced Uyghur labor. It is essential that the international community continues to speak out against the mistreatment of the Uyghur men and women and hold those responsible accountable for their actions. The rights and dignity of all individuals, regardless of their ethnicity or gender, must be respected and upheld. In the face of this grave injustice, Nuzugum's story serves as a powerful reminder of the resilience and determination of the Uyghur people. Her bravery and defiance in the face of oppression are echoed in the courage of those who continue to speak out and resist the genocide today. The Uyghur people are not alone in their struggle for freedom, and the world must not turn a blind eye to the ongoing atrocities being committed against them. While both the Trump and Biden administrations have passed legislation in an attempt to help the Uyghurs, such as limiting imports from the region until it's determined that there was no use of forced labor, there's still more to be done, especially considering most Americans don't know that this genocide is currently happening.
What's been happening to the Uyghur population over the years is so horrific, and it appears so far-fetched, to the point that when news outlets like the New York Times published reports, people dismissed it as fake news or clickbait. Unfortunately, nothing about this crisis is fake or exaggerated. It truly is a living nightmare, marked by internment camps, rape, religious hate crimes, and torture. So, you may be asking yourself, how can I help? What can we as Americans specifically University of Michigan students, do to help the Uyghurs who are undergoing this genocide. One thing that we really want to emphasize is using the power of our voices. There are numerous ways in which we can make our voices heard, from signing petitions to writing to the government. Amnesty International is a human rights organization, and they provide an incredible template based on extensive research about Uyghur oppression that you can use to write to your local political representatives demanding action. In terms of financial donations, due to government sanctions, no form of aid is able to enter China. Chinese citizens can actually be detained if they're found to be in contact with those outside of China's borders. However, there is an option to provide aid to the Uyghurs who have successfully fled to Turkey. Through campaigns on launchgood.com, you can donate directly to campaigns that will help fund Uyghurs' food, housing, and education. In the era of social media, use it to your advantage. It's a great tool for raising awareness. We have a variety of resources that we will share at the end of this video, and we really encourage you to share them with your followers. After all, if no one knows what's going on, how can we help? Lastly, we really encourage you to support organizations that advocate for the rights of the Uyghur community. One organization we highly recommend you check out is the Uyghur Human Rights Project. They offer links to petitions, donation centers, offer great resources for reaching out to Congress, and more. For those interested, they also offer fascinating volunteer and internship opportunities. To conclude our video, we really wanted to highlight the efforts of a student right here at the University of Michigan, Zilala Mamet. Zilala is a freshman here at Michigan, and she's been extremely active in her efforts of supporting the Uyghur community. Aside from serving as the Michigan Youth Representative for the Uyghur American Association, she actually founded her own nonprofit, United Uyghur Youth. We had the great privilege of speaking with Zilala about her efforts. Her nonprofit organizes activist events such as peaceful demonstrations and protests, while also organizing recreational activities for Uyghur children to form meaningful and lasting friendships. We are so inspired by her dedication to this cause, especially given her young age. We hope that our video was informative and inspired you to look deeper into the current Uyghur crisis. With about 10 million speakers, their population is dwindling, and they are in serious danger of being wiped out entirely. We are so privileged to live in the United States of America, and it's our job to help those who lack this privilege. It's our job to make a change.